So this game over here, which may seem pretty simple, okay, it still uses an autoload, okay. And I know that maybe you have heard of autoloads, maybe you know some of it, maybe you know nothing about it, but it is a Godot feature that really allows you to do lots of interesting things. So in this video, I want us to dig deeper into specifically this game. Why is it using autoload? How? And most importantly, for you to know when, okay, to actually implement autoloads. So first of all, in this game, okay, we have this autoloaded script, which is called global, and has two variables, level and level count, okay, and it also has one function, change to level scene. So where is all this used? For example, okay, in the level scenes, okay, we have this current level UI, okay, which is basically this label, and this has a function, okay, the ready function called as soon as the game starts, which modifies the label, sorry, the text label, okay, to be level colon space and the level. That's why when we play, okay, what you see is that, okay, we start off in level 1, okay, and then when we are then in level 2, well, the text changes, okay. So this level is the current level. Then the level count is basically that, okay, how many levels we have, which is used in some places. So in the uwin UI, which is basically that, this UI, let me actually open it up for you. So this is level, sorry, this was called uwin UI. Here it is. So it's basically this UI. So what happens over here is that, okay, when it's ready, it compares global level and global levels count, and if they are equal, it hides the next level button, because this means that we have reached the final level and there are no more levels to load. So if that's the case, we don't want to show this next level button anymore. So you can kind of start to see where and how we are using it. Also here on the next level button press, we are calling this function change to level scene. So it's basically changing to exactly that, to the current level scene, after we have successfully increased it. So the key thing here for you to understand is that this game, okay, has many scenes, okay. So if we go to scenes, as well as we have many of them, so we have levels. In this case, we just have 3 levels, but we can have many more. And basically, when we are playing in the game, we have transitions between these different level scenes. So between those transitions, okay, we need to store some data between them. So what happens is that we need an object that always exists, that it's never deleted, okay, and that always stores this data. So we always have access to the current level, to how many levels we have in total, all that. Because if this, for example, would be just an object that we put here in this scene in level 3, so let's add a node, and in this we attach the global script, this would kind of still work, but of course this is just a node that exists in this scene, but this node does not exist in level 2, in level 1, etc. Okay. So the key thing here is that whenever you are facing something like this, okay, in which you want to store, okay, some data between scenes, okay, there is when you must use an autoload. So in this case, what happens is that we want to store between scenes this data, so the level count, okay, and that's why an autoload has been created. Then next thing, the next advantage of an autoload, let's actually put it over here. So first advantage is data between scenes, and the second one is easy access. Basically like this. So here this function, I can actually call it from wherever I want pretty easily. Maybe you have seen that whenever I wanted to access this global script, the only thing that I have to do was call global dot, and we can call the variable, a function, whatever it is. So it's also pretty useful to basically that, as it is easily accessible, we can call functions way easier. So I just store here a function, okay, that basically does that. It changes to the level scene, so it grasps the change scene to file, goes to the levels folder, and just changes to the corresponding scene. So whenever you need either this, or both of them at the same time, then there is the time for you to actually start implementing an autoload. And how to exactly implement an autoload? That's what we're going to be doing right now. So let me quit to the project list and I will show you. So I have this example over here, which is a pretty simple platformer game, okay? So as you can see, you have the player which can collect coins and has those platforms in the ground, okay? So pretty simple. So let's say that we want to store how many coins we have collected, and then we also want to display that information in a main menu. So first of all, I will go ahead and create a super simple main menu scene. So now I have updated this game, so here we have the problem that we want to fix. So let's say that in the main menu, we want to display how many coins we have collected, for example. So if we want to play, we have here the coins counter, and we can basically do that, collect the different coins. So I will add here a button to come back to the menu. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and when we come back to the menu, well, coins are still like X, so 0. So how can we fix this communication? So first of all, what we have to understand is the logic that we have here. So right now we have this coins label in the main scene, which basically has an update score function, which increases the score and updates the text. And the problem here is that, well, this score variable only exists in this coins label node. And when we come back to the menu scene, okay, this coins label does not exist anymore. Okay, this coins label is not the same as this object, basically. So that's basically why this coins label over here does not know how many coins we have collected, how much score we have. So once again, in these situations, we have to think of, okay, the best solution is an autoload. So let's go to the scripts folder. First of all, here I have some scripts that are not in the correct folder, but anyway, let's go to create a new script over here. And in this case, I will call it global. Okay, that's a name that I like. Let's make it completely empty. And here we can open it up. Okay. So here what we need, of course, is a score variable, first of all. And that's mainly, I leave all that we need, at least from now, because now we have to just remake this coins label. So rather than just accessing that score, we need to access the score of the global script. So we have to go to project settings, globals, and here on path, load in the global script and press add. And then with this name over here, which you can also modify by double clicking, you just access it. So global.score, okay? And also here, global.score, as simple as that. Now, what I'm gonna be doing right now is that on the ready of this coins label, I will also update the text over here. Of course, you can create a custom function, whatever it is. Once again, here we're not digging into best coding practices, just so that we don't have that X. And then in the menu, okay, we can do something very similar. So in the ready, what we do is exactly this, okay? But not this text, we want to grab the coins label dot text, okay? So there we go. And now when we press play, coins 0, play, coins are still 0. 1, 2, 3, menu, and coins are still 3, okay? Of course, there are many solutions. Not only can you auto load scripts, but also scenes. So in reality, what we could do is, okay, this coins label is an auto-loaded scene, so we don't have to have a coins label here and in the menu, but that's something more advanced or not something that we're really interested in doing right now. So these are the very basics of auto-loading. And if you want to learn more about Godot, in the description of this video, you have all my Godot courses over here. And the good thing is that all of them have a custom coupon code applied. So if you are fast enough, you're going to be able to get them at a super cheap price, as you can see. So this is one Godot course, this is another Godot course, and this is another Godot course. And even if you want, you also have my full Unity course. So once again, all the descriptions are in the description down below.